Did Brave New World have you hissing at what it left out? Or are you just excited about the potential returns of some totally metal characters? There are a couple things that Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross is particularly known for in the comics. He turns into Red Hulk and he has a big bushy mustache. William Hurt sported a crumb catcher when he played Ross in The Incredible Hulk and Captain America Civil War before his death in 2022. But now a clean-shaven Harrison Ford has taken over the role.
They said lose the mustache or lose the election.
Apparently, the decision to lose the stash wasn't Ford's, as he insisted during 2024's San Diego Comic-Con. I would have grown a mustache if I was asked. But as it turns out, an early scene in Brave New World features an old photo of Ross on a news broadcast in which he sports some whiskers on his upper lip, which works as an important nod to Ross's past. Also, the real reason Ford's Ross doesn't have the mustache may have something to do with real-world politics, as an actual American president hasn't sported facial hair since Harry Truman in the 1940s. Ant-Man is probably the easiest Avengers punching bag, but considering that he defeated Kang the Conqueror, he deserves at least a modicum of respect. Still, it seems old grudges die hard, as he's referenced multiple times in Brave New World, much to Sam Wilson's dismay. The first time happens after Captain America and Falcon retrieve the stolen canister containing adamantium in Mexico, when Joaquin Torres asks Sam if he'll finally introduce him to Ant-Man, to which Sam emphatically responds, "Nope." Then during the finale, Joaquin is talking about the hero he's always admired, and Sam says, "Don't say Ant-Man." As devoted MCU fans know, this frustration didn't come out of nowhere. In the 2015 Ant-Man movie, back when Sam was still Falcon, he fought Scott Lang when he snuck onto the Avengers compound to steal the signal decoy. Scott won that fight, and Sam later recruited him to join Steve Rogers' team in Civil War. While Sam may recognize that Scott is a legitimate hero, their history could very well still be a sore spot.
It's really important to me that Cap never finds out about this.
The organization responsible for stealing the canister in the beginning of Brave New World is referred to as Serpent. This is a nod to the Serpent Society from the comics, which consists of a bunch of snake-themed villains. They've gone by other names as well, such as Serpent Squad and Serpent Solutions. But in the MCU, they're simply Serpent, and they don't have any snake-themed uniforms or powers. And their leader, Sidewinder, is mostly just a guy with guns and knives. This is most likely an attempt to make the story more grounded, or as grounded as a movie about a giant red rage monster possibly can be. But that doesn't seem like it was always the case. It's worth noting that WWE's Seth Rollins was spotted on set in a stylish green outfit that gave off serious Snake vibes. But before the movie came out, Rollins revealed that he wouldn't appear in the final cut due to the numerous rewrites and reshoots, which apparently involved retooling Serpent. Ultimately, it's a bit of a letdown to see this crew so defanged. Betty Ross hasn't been seen in the MCU since 2008's The Incredible Hulk, where she was Bruce Banner's love interest and at odds with her father, Thaddeus. Throughout Brave New World, Thaddeus talks about how Betty doesn't speak to him anymore and how he wants to prove to her that he's changed. She finally appears at the very end of the film to visit her dad after he's been imprisoned on the raft, which houses superpowered villains. It was always clear that Betty would have a small role this time around, as Liv Tyler hinted that she only filmed a scene and a half. That half scene is likely her phone conversation with her father after the incident in the Indian Sea. However, set photos showed her at a cemetery dressed in all black. This makes us think that there were plans to have Thaddeus die and that Betty would have attended his funeral.
Dad, please don't do this.
You can't see this clearly.
Even before the trailers revealed that Ross would turn into Red Hulk, plenty of fans pretty much knew that it was going to happen. The movie itself plays coy with this revelation, with the transformation not happening until the finale. However, there's a slick needle drop beforehand that offers a bit of foreshadowing. After the Mexico mission, Sam and Joaquin go to a gym to visit Isaiah Bradley. Then there's a quick training montage set to Tame Impala's psychedelic rock song Elephant, which was released back in 2012. If that seems a bit random, it may help to pay attention to the lyrics. As Tame Impala frontman Kevin Parker explained to NME, it's a song about the bully, the guy who thinks he's great, the jock. The theme is exemplified in lines like, "He feels like an elephant, shaking his big gray trunk for the hell of it." If there's anyone in Brave New World who's an elephant shaking his trunk, it's Red Hulk Ross destroying the White House. It's plenty clear that he's a bully, especially once we learn he's been keeping Samuel Stearns prisoner since the events of The Incredible Hulk. Adamantium is an indestructible metal that can be used for a variety of purposes. It's no wonder then that various countries claim access to it, and that Ross wants the United States, Japan, India, and France to sign the treaty so that they can all utilize its benefits. When most comic book readers hear adamantium, they think of Wolverine, who was born with bone-based claws coming out of his knuckles. After undergoing experimentation from Weapon X, those bones become coated with adamantium, resulting in his iconic metal claws. But he's not the only Marvel character with adamantium. With that in mind, it's notable that Japan is a major player in the treaty, as it's the homeland of Silver Samurai. In the comics, Silver Samurai is a mutant who can power up his blade to cut through almost any material, except for Wolverine's adamantium. In the 2013 movie The Wolverine, his armor is made out of the metal. We don't know yet if the MCU has any plans involving Silver Samurai, but the introduction of adamantium nevertheless hints at the possibility of various characters eventually making their MCU debuts.
Dear God, it's him. Who? The one.
Sam and Joaquin discover that whoever was supposed to buy the adamantium is located within Camp Echo 1, an off-the-grid military base that's not supposed to contain anything. In the comics, the camp was introduced in Champions Volume 2, Number 10. It's designed to be a containment facility to keep the Hulk calm, and it was later turned into an internment camp for Inhumans. In Brave New World, Camp Echo 1 effectively becomes a prison. Sam even notes how there are cells, but there's no one there besides Samuel Stearns and the guards, whom Stearns has placed under mind control. With Stearns imprisoned on the raft by the end of the movie, it doesn't seem like there'll be much use for Echo 1 in the MCU's future, unless the next president uses it to unfairly imprison someone. Bucky Barnes has been a major player in the MCU, but he only has a brief cameo in Brave New World. When Sam visits Joaquin in the hospital after getting too close to a missile explosion during the Indian Sea fight, Bucky shows up to lend some emotional support by helping him through his existential crisis about how he doesn't deserve to be Captain America. After he leaves, Ruth mentions that Bucky is going to be a future congressman, which lends an interesting wrinkle to his part in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie. This may not be too much of a surprise at this point, as the Thunderbolts Super Bowl commercial included Bucky at a congressional hearing. Either way, it's easy to imagine that there'll be a fair amount of red tape that he'll have to work through to get his hands dirty on the field. But knowing Bucky, he probably won't care about any of that.
Why, you got someplace to be?
I love that guy.
Ross initially tasks Sam with putting the Avengers back together as a formal government organization, which Sam is reluctant to do. But by the end, when he's talking to Joaquin in the hospital, he tells him to be ready. It sounds like Sam is now indeed prepared to assemble the Avengers once more, but outside of the government's reach, which aligns with what we know about Thunderbolts thus far. Specifically, the Thunderbolts Super Bowl spot features Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, saying that the Avengers aren't coming. That's why a new group needs to assemble in the form of the Thunderbolts. This seems to suggest that Sam would fail in his mission to create a new team, even though he's open to the idea by the end of Brave New World. It's possible that Sam hasn't gotten around to making the Avengers yet at the time that Thunderbolts is set, and Valentina wants a backup plan. Considering Valentina's duplicitous nature, maybe she's even aware that a new Avengers team is in the works and is trying to get her team up and running before they have a chance to. We'll almost certainly know more by the time that Avengers Doomsday arrives in 2026. It's easy to ignore the extremely lengthy end credits of any Marvel movie, but anyone who pays close attention to all those names during Brave New World will be rewarded with the knowledge that Octavia Spencer is listed under the Special Thanks section. That may seem odd considering that her only Marvel work was a small part in 2002's Spider-Man, but there's actually a good reason for the gratitude. As it turns out, Spencer played a significant part in getting director Julius Ona the gig directing Brave New World. As Anthony Mackie revealed to blackfilmandtv.com, Octavia calls me and I'm like, you know when Octavia call, you know it's something going on. So I'm like, what's up, girl? She was like, Mackie, you know my friend is up for your movie and you better get him the job, because if you don't, I'm coming to New Orleans and this and that.
Like, oh my God. So she runs me the gauntlet. She gives me the riot act.
Mackie then spoke with Ona and was impressed with how much he wanted to explore the character of Sam Wilson. Spencer starred in Ona's 2019 film Loose, so she clearly must have had a good experience working with him. Up-and-coming directors, take note. Always treat your actors right, because you never know which one of them can land you a superhero gig. The Brave New World post-credit scene features Sam visiting Samuel Stearns, who's locked up on the raft. Stearns doesn't seem to mind, though, as he delivers a cryptic threat, explaining that Sam and other heroes are so concerned for their own world while neglecting to look toward other ones. This moment helps tie Brave New World into the larger multiverse saga. For a while, the MCU's main big bad was going to be Kang in his many variants, and that plan is now dead in the water. Instead, the studio has cast Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom and changed the title of the upcoming 2026 Avengers movie from the Kang Dynasty to Doomsday. It's all leading up to 2027's Secret Wars. If that movie has a similar plot as its comic book namesakes, it will involve a bunch of heroes winding up on Battleworld, which consists of remnants from numerous destroyed realities. The others that Stearns talks about are probably heroes who wind up on Battleworld along with those from the MCU proper. Rather than fighting a bunch of Kangs, it may be a battle between heroes from different realities. This could mean the return of Marvel actors from before the MCU. One rumor is that Chris Evans could return as a villain instead of Captain America, although Evans has denied that he'll be in Doomsday. Ultimately, Stern's warning is vague enough that it could mean anything, so long as it gets moviegoers excited for 2 new Avengers movies coming out in the near future.